I can't let my partner look to split my legs. I can't let my partner look to outflank me, like so. And I can't let my partner put me in a situation where she outflanks me, puts me on my back, and then especially puts me on my back and outflanks me at the same time. Okay, if she outflanks me, it's not the end of the world. Okay, because as she goes to outflank me, I can always circle like so to correct. And if I'm on my back and she puts me on my back and outflanks me, now this is a real issue now. Okay, now you're not in the driver's seat anymore. She's 100% attacking you. Okay, whereas if you stay seated and you just keep your 2 feet inside, there's no way your partner can pass your guard from here. She has to achieve the goals of putting my back on the floor first before she look to pass me. Okay, so there's prerequisites that she has to look for before she can actually even start to pass. Or she has to split my legs, has to put my back on the floor, has to outflank me, has to do one of these things in order to actually be successful. And if you just have the broad vision in mind of keeping contact with your partner, winning the grip fighting exchanges, and eventually fighting your feet to the inside position relative to her knees, you're going to be not only be able to retain guard, but you're going to be able to attack your opponent from here. Okay? So we have, again, the overarching theme of the series for retaining versus loose passing, retaining versus tight passing. And now these are specific positions where you have specific goals, seated versus loose passing, supine versus loose passing, ashigarami variations, leg pommeling variations, where you have specific goals from specific positions. Okay, but again, everything is going to be focused on one common theme throughout the entire instructional, and that is what are our goals when our partner's loose passing, what are our goals when our partner's tight passing, and how in a live sparring situation or a competition, these will be unified. So your partner can go from tight passing to loose passing and loose passing to tight passing, in a half a second if they want to. So you have to understand what your goals are, our broad goals, and what are our specific goals from each different situation. And this is what we saw clearly now with seated versus loose passing. Now we're on to supine versus loose passing. All right, so now we're going to dive into supine retention versus loose passing. Now, this has a lot more moving parts to it than seated versus loose passing, because you saw a lot of the seated stuff in the seated instructional. But the supine instructional was basically just us attacking from our preferred positions, not our partner almost passing our guard and us having to recover and go into reattacks. So this will be a lot different. It'll be a lot more new content. All right. How we're going to break this down is we're going to move from the most desirable to the least desirable positions. Okay, meaning I'm going to go into guard retention first from my most desirable attacking positions, and then retention into attacks from my least desirable positions. Okay, the most desirable would be things like an X guard, an Ashi X, an X guard, an Ashi X. Any kind of Arimi Ashigarami, like so, any kind of Oshiro X guard, Oshiro reverse X, things like that. Okay, where I'm in the driver's seat and I have 2 feet inside of my partner's knees. Okay, I'm in the driver's seat. How can I retain guard from here when my partner, for example, beats my legs and steps past my shoulder line or hip line and goes to pass me from here? How can I recover and get my legs back into the equation? Okay. The least desirable would be in the position where my partner outflanks me and gets past my shoulder line. And now she starts to put hands on me and starts to pass from here. Okay, so we're going to break this down in my most desirable, how we can retain guard from the most desirable attacking positions to the least desirable positions. Okay, we're first going to start off when I have 2 legs inside my partner's legs, where I can dominate the space between her knees. Okay, this is the most desirable. Where now I'm completely in the driver's seat from here for the most part, and I can go to real attacks. She can peel my feet off and look to start passing me, but I can also recover from here. All right. Now, we're also going to look at situations where my partner splits my legs. Okay, we're now kind of in a neutral position where we both have attacks. So if I have 2 legs inside, I'm in the driver's seat. If my partner puts a leg inside, either with a cross hamstring like so, or with a straight hamstring like so, and she's leg pommeling, for example, now we're going to look at how we can retain and go into attacks from here. All right. And now, from a situation where my partner completely outflanks me, now she's basically in the driver's seat. This is the least desirable position, where she outflanks my legs, my feet and knees are pointing completely away from her, And now from here, you can walk past my hip or shoulder line and start to pass. Okay, so that's the general overview. We're going to break it down into 3 different situations. My 2 feet inside my partner's, retaining from a situation where we have an ashigarami. Then retention from a situation where my partner splits my legs, either with a crossed hamstring or a straight hamstring. And then finally, the least desirable positions where my partner looks to outflank me or walk past the shoulder line. My partner starts stacking me and putting my feet to the floor above my head, things like that. So we're going to start off first with ashigarami X-guard variations, and there's a specific way we're going to do this so we can save time. And I'm not showing you 16,000 different moves from every given position that my partner could be placing her hands or feet or heads or a head. So we're going to go into that now.